The Senate will please come to order. We do not have a devotional today, so we'll begin this morning with a moment of silence. Thank you. I'll kindly ask senators to rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Are there any announcements this morning before we get started? Seeing none, hearing none, we have a couple of referrals. House Bill H-157 being on the calendar for notice and affecting the expenditures of the state under Rule 31 is referred to the Committee on Appropriations. We have on the calendar for reference JRH 6, a resolution relating to racism as a public health emergency, and pursuant to temporary Rule 44A, JRH 6 is now referred to the Committee on Health and Welfare. We also have a Senate resolution for introduction, SR 10, a resolution relating to condemning anti-Asian and anti-Pacific Islander hate in the United States and recognizing May 2021 as Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander Heritage Month in Vermont. Please listen to the first reading of the resolution.
SR 10. Senate resolution condemning anti-Asian and anti-Pacific Islander hate in the United States and recognizing May 2021 as Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander Heritage Month in Vermont.
The resolution will be treated like a bill, and you've heard the first reading. It is referred to the Committee on Economic Development, Housing, and General Affairs. This brings us right into the orders of the day. We have on the calendar today H-438, an act relating to capital construction and state bonding. The House has proposed an amendment to the Senate proposal of amendment as set forth on page 2317 of today's calendar. The automatic question is, shall the Senate concur with the House proposal of amendment to the Senate proposal of amendment? The senator from Caledonia, Senator Benning, is recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. First, Madam President, let me say it is an absolute pleasure to be able to stand in the chamber and hold what many of my colleagues may remember as an actual paper calendar. Madam President, I also, as you may notice, unmasked. I will let the Senate know that I did receive permission from the pro tem prior to making that decision. Madam President, your Senate Committee on Institutions did meet to discuss the House proposals of amendment, and we concur with their decision. A brief explanation about those changes. First instance of amendment, there is some clarity. You'll find this on page 2317 of the calendar. There's some clarity with respect to the $10,000 that was given to historic preservation to identify two specific locations where there will be development of rec sites in Lake Champlain and designation as those for diving purposes. Second instance of amendment gives authority for 13 Baldwin Street to be sold. The state actually owns several houses on Baldwin Street. Some of them are not in use. We had some discussion over the past couple of weeks about how to swap certain properties, and this is the result of one of those that the state is agreeing to sell 13 Baldwin Street. In the third instance of amendment is a technical change, inserting the Office of Legislative Information Technology into language in the Act number 48 Fourth instance of amendment has to deal with language that is mirrored in the Appropriations Bill regarding the use of federal funds for water and sewer infrastructure. Fifth instance of amendment, the Adirondack has officially sailed. The folks who own the boat have withdrawn their request to have that boat sunk in the lake, but there is now a moratorium on any attempts to do so for the next 3 years, according to this amendment. Sections 31, there is a change to some room swapping, if you will. Again, over the past couple of weeks, there have been several conversations going on about properties that are going to be used by the legislature. The legislative branch is going to be taking over 2 Aiken Street and 4 Aiken Street and a couple of rooms on the basement floor of 133 State Street. Under Section 32, the Legislative Advisory Committee on the State House is being changed in its makeup. They are being asked to provide recommendations how to return to the State House, especially on a long-term basis. We are adding 2 legislators to that mix to make sure that the legislature is in control, if you will, of the vote count at the end of the day when those recommendations are made. They are supposed to give their report on or before August 15th of this year. There are still a lot of moving parts to be discussed, but the upshot is we are trying to move things along and make decisions, and this is one of the entities that will be making decisions to joint rules as well as the Joint Legislative Management Committee and the respective institutions committees. Under Section 34, the Williston Public Safety Barracks is being sold if BGS comes up with a buyer and a lease arrangement. And Section 35 is the new effective date, which is simply at the date of passage. With that, Madam President, your committee did vote to approve these changes and would recommend that this body do the same. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. The question is, shall the Senate concur with the House proposal of amendment to the Senate proposal of amendment on H 438? Are you ready for the question? Kindly unmute. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and you concur with the House proposal of amendment to the Senate proposal of amendment on H 438. We have on the calendar for third reading, H 88. Third reading was ordered on May 14th, 2021. Are there any amendments before third reading? Please listen to the third reading of H 88.
H 88, an act relating to certification of agricultural use for purposes of the Use Value Appraisal Program.
The question is, shall the bill pass in concurrence? Are you ready for the question? Kindly unmute. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and you've passed H 88 in concurrence. We have on the calendar for third reading H 106. Third reading was ordered on May 14th, 2021. Are there any amendments before third reading? Please listen to the third reading of H 106.
H 106, an act relating to equitable access to a high-quality education through community schools.
The question is, shall the bill pass in concurrence? Are you ready for the question? Kindly unmute. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay.
No.
Ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it, and you've passed H 106 in concurrence. We have on the calendar for third reading H 135. Third reading was ordered on May 14th, 2021. Are there any amendments before third reading? Please listen to the third reading of H 135.
H 135, an act relating to the State Ethics Commission.
The question is, shall the bill pass in concurrence? Are you ready for the question? All those in favor, please unmute and say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and you've passed H 135 in concurrence. Finally, we have on the calendar for third reading H 436. Third reading was ordered on May 14th, 2021. Are there any amendments before third reading? Please listen to the third reading of H 436.
H 436, an act relating to miscellaneous changes to Vermont tax laws.
The question is, shall the bill pass in concurrence? Are you ready for the question? Kindly unmute. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and you've passed H 436 in concurrence. We have on the calendar for action H 431. Read for the first time on March 25th, 2021. It was referred to the Committee on Finance, which reports it has considered the bill and recommended the bill be amended as set forth on pages 2321 to 2333 of today's calendar, and that when so amended, the bill ought to pass. The bill was then referred to the Committee on Appropriations, which reports it has considered the bill and recommends that the bill be amended as recommended by the Committee on Finance, and that when so amended, the bill ought to pass. Please listen to the second reading of H 431.
H 431, an act relating to miscellaneous energy subjects.
The senator from Chittenden, Senator Pearson, is recognized for the report of the Committee on Finance.
Thank you, Madam President. This came to us as stated, miscellaneous energy subjects is basically language brought to us by the Department of Public Service, the Tax Department, and other agencies looking for cleanup and clarification. May I speak to both the underlying bill and the finance proposal of amendment?
You may.
Thank you. This bill contains multiple provisions related to the regulation of energy at the Department of Public Service. It includes basically 4 topics: the way that DPS and VOSHA interacts, Public Records Act exemption for cybersecurity, regulation of energy storage devices and energy storage companies, and the Nuclear Decommissioning Citizen Advisory Panel. I will just walk senators quickly through and be glad to have questions. Section 1 has to do with occupational safety and health and clarifies that when accidents are occurring on power plants or their lines, that they are where they are subject to supervision, clarifies the jurisdictional boundaries between VOSHA and Department of Public Service. Section 2 is a Public Records Act clarification clarifying that an agency subject to a Public Records Act obtain a utilities when it relates to cybersecurity information. Plainly, that information is not subject to public disclosure. Section 3 and the next few sections has to do with energy storage. This is obviously a promising new development in the energy sphere. We are eager to have batteries and other storage technology to help us spread our solar power. As my colleague from Orange County likes to say, make the sun shine at night. But storage systems are not currently contemplated in our certificate of public needs, a public good, et cetera. And so this here we are adding language to make it consistent with other types of electric plants as regulated by the PUC. Section 4 similarly adds energy storage facilities. That's something that we're regulating. Section 5 amends change to existing definition of energy storage facility to include energy storage aggregation or an energy storage aggregator. This relates to an entity that might control several batteries located around the grid and using them in a coordinated way. Those would be considered an aggregator. Here we did make a change, and finance suggests that we set the threshold of an aggregator that is regulated at one that controls 100 kilowatt hours or more. The House had a bigger threshold, but the department and the PUC wanted that to be lowered. Section 6 also relates to energy storage companies, and we're adding cross references to make it all knit together. Section 7 also relates to energy storage as it hits Velco and impacts Velco. Section 8 makes it clear where CPG is required. And our amendment here, there's another instance of amendment from finance that strikes language hoping to simplify and make it clear that, let me see here, energy storage aggregators do need a certificate of public good, again, if they're over 100 kilowatt hours. Section 9 again has to do with the CPG and makes clear how that works. There was some tension between the industry, the folks that build storage, and regulators wanting a timeline. The industry wants it to be quick. The regulators wanted a slower process. We have moved the House's other bodies' 30-day deadline to 45 days, providing some certainty, but also giving our agencies time to fully review these projects. Section 10, we have a technical correction to the definition to be a cross-reference. Section 11 allows the PUC to adopt rules to implement these sections. And Section 12 has to make sure that the PUC is updating its interconnection rules to incorporate storage. Section 13 has to do, now we're shifting to the Nuclear Decommissioning Citizens Advisory Panel. And senators will recall this is really a holdover from when Yankee was operating. Some of these are just definition changes because it's no longer legally owned by Vermont Yankee. So addressing the successor. It used to be in statute, let me see if I can get this, used to be Vermont Yankee Nuclear Power Plant was the acronym. Now it's just Vermont Yankee, to make sure that we're up to date there. Sections 16 through 20 is an amendment from your Finance Committee, Madam President, and has to do again with energy storage. The renewable energy companies are happy to pay a tax. They mostly want it to be clear and straightforward so that they can plan. And what we're doing here essentially is saying that energy storage battery systems will be taxed in the same way that we tax solar projects. Senators will recall for the Ed Fund, the tax has to do with capacity. So how a solar panel, or in this case, a battery, is rated as a capacity, that flows through to the Ed Fund. For municipal taxes, solar is based on a formula that the department and others have arrived at over the years, but that is quite complicated. So what we are saying here, while we track for the Ed Fund, for the municipality, the capacity will be half of what goes to the Ed Fund, which ends up being 25 cents per kilowatt hour of the rating of the battery. We are in Section 21, adding an exemption for wood pellets. This also passed in miscellaneous tax, and we can, so the Senate has already agreed to that. Section 22 is effective dates, which is by and large July 1, but there is the one exemption, which is December 15th, 2022, to give the PUC some time around the rules. for incorporating storage. We've had a long list of witnesses. I won't read them all unless folks want, but it of course includes Ledge Council, folks from different utilities, from the department, from the PUC, and from the renewable energy sector, as well as folks from the League of Cities and Towns, et cetera. The vote in committee was 6-1, and we would urge the Senate to join us in passing this important update to promote renewable energy and clarify some statutes. And I should say that the energy storage taxation and again, structure that we've set up is a consensus between the Department of Taxes, Department of Public Service, and municipalities and developers, so and utilities. So I think we have a rare moment here where we have been able to strike the right. We've threaded the needle just to everyone's satisfaction, believe it or not, Madam President. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. The senator from Caledonia, the senior senator, Senator Kitchell, is recognized for the report of the Committee on Appropriations.
Thank you, Madam President. Appropriations Committee took testimony on this bill, and our determination was that any impact actually was on the plus side in the fact that we were reducing the number of meetings that per diems would have to be paid. So any impact was very minimal and could, in fact, result in less expenditure for the work that the decommissioning entity would be undertaking. And the committee vote was 5-0-2 in support of this bill. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. The question is, shall the Senate propose to the House to amend the bills recommended by the Committee on Finance? Are you ready for the question? The senator from Washington is recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. May I inquire of the presenter of the bill?
You may.
Thank you. Can I just get clarification on the Finance Committee's understanding of the definition for energy storage facility? Was it meant to include non-electric storage? The way I read it, you could store fossil fuel as an energy storage facility if that fuel was going to be used to generate electricity. Was that your intention?
That is not my understanding, Madam President, but I'd be happy to get clarity with Ledge Council and the senator before third reading, if that makes sense.
Okay. Thank you, Madam President.
Are you ready for the question? And again, the question is, shall the Senate propose to the House to amend the bills recommended by the Committee on Finance? Senators are kindly asked to unmute. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and you propose to the House to amend the bill as recommended by the Committee on Finance. The question now is, shall the bill be read for the third time? Are you ready for the question? Kindly unmute. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and you've ordered third reading of H 431. We have on the calendar for action H 443, read for the first time on May 7th, 2021. It was referred to the Committee on Government Operations, which reports it has considered the bill and recommends that the bill be amended as set forth on page, just gotta confirm the page number here, 2333 of today's calendar, and that when so amended, the bill ought to pass. Please listen to the second reading of H 443.
H 443, an act relating to approval of the merger of the Wilmington Water District with the town of Wilmington.
The senator from Rutland, Senator Collmore, is recognized for the report of the Committee on Government Operations.
Thank you, Madam President. May I speak to both the underlying bill as well as an amendment being offered by the Government Operations Committee?
You may.
Thank you. H 443 does indeed approve the merger of the Wilmington Water District with the town of Wilmington. Section 1 contains the General Assembly's approval of the merger. By the way, November 3rd, 2020, the voters of the town approved the merger with a vote of 623 in favor and 145 against, and the voters of the water district also approved the merger by a vote of 117 in favor and 10 against. Section 2 contains the terms of the merger as they were approved. Subsection A contains shorthand definitions for the town and district. Subsection B states that on June 30th, 2021, the district shall cease to exist and shall merge with the town. Subsection C provides that the merger shall not impact the authorities granted to the town by the general municipal law of the state. Subsection D provides that all property belonging to the district shall transfer over to the town. The district's debts shall be secured by the credit of the town with respect to the properties comprising the district. This means that the town will guarantee the debts and will collect from property owners that are served by the district. Subsection E provides that the properties and trusts by the district trustees shall be managed by the town select board. Subsection F provides that the district shall settle all of its affairs and deliver records and documents to the town. Subsection G provides that the town system of town manager administrative government shall not be impacted by the merger. Subsection H provides that the town shall hold the general fund of the district as a separate enterprise fund. Subsection I provides that all current laws, rules, and policies of the district shall remain in effect through the merger and shall become the laws, rules, and policies of the town with respect to the water system. Subsection J provides that the district trustees in office at the time of the merger shall have their terms expire. The town elected officers shall not have their terms affected by the merger. Subsection K provides that the water system shall be operated as a separate department of the town. The revenues of the water system shall be placed in a special fund and may not be used for any purpose other than those identified in subsection L. Subsection L provides that the water rates of the district or town shall continue until later changed by the select board. Operating costs shall be paid by the ratepayers of the district. This subsection also provides that charges for water rates shall be a lien upon real estate. This authority is also provided to water systems under general law. In subsection L3, the water charges of the system shall be sufficient to pay the costs of operation and maintenance, to pay debt service, and to fund necessary capital reserves. And that subsection also means the select board will serve as the water commissioners. Subsection M directs the treasurer and finance director to keep water system revenues separate from any other special funds and to honor no warrant except for the purposes outlined in the merger. And finally, subsection N provides that the merger terms shall be severable. The effective date, Madam President, was changed with the amendment that appears on page 2333 of today's calendar. The original effective date was July 1st of this year. However, the merger was approved in the charter as June 30th, 2021, leaving a 24-hour period where there was no coverage and any risk of exposure we felt should be in sync with the proposed merger date. Therefore, the Senate Government Operations Committee is changing the date to June 30th from what came over in the original bill. We heard from Representative John Gannon and Tucker Anderson, our legislative counsel. The committee vote was 5-0-0, Madam President, and we ask the Senate to concur.
Thank you, Senator. The question is, shall the Senate propose to the House to amend the bill as recommended by the Committee on Government Operations? Are you ready for the question? Kindly unmute. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and you propose to the House to amend the bill as recommended by the Committee on Government Operations. The question now is, shall the bill be read for the third time? Are you ready for the question? Kindly unmute. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and you've ordered third reading of H 443. The senator from Wyndham is recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. At this time, I ask that the rules be suspended and that we message our actions on H438, an act relating to capital construction and state bonding, H88, an act relating to certification of agricultural use for purposes of the use value appraisal program, H106, an act relating to equitable access to high-quality education through community schools, H135, an act relating to the State Ethics Commission, H436, an act relating to miscellaneous changes to Vermont's tax laws, to the House forthwith.
Thank you, Senator. The senator from Wyndham has moved that the rules be suspended and H438, H88, H106, H135, and H436 be messaged to the House forthwith. Are you ready for the question? Kindly unmute. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and you've suspended the rules and messaged H438, H88, H106, H135, and H436 to the House forthwith. We'll now move to S15. We have on the calendar today S15, an act relating to correcting defective ballots. The House has proposed to the Senate to amend the bill as set forth on page 2333 of today's calendar. The underlying question is, shall the Senate concur with the House proposal of amendment with further proposal of amendment? The senator from Wyndham, Senator White, is recognized for the report of the Committee on Government Operations.
Thank you, Madam President. The other chamber made 10 changes here, and our committee is recommending that we accept those changes without further amendment. And I will go through the changes. The first one is in section 8, and it provides that first, if you remember, S15 is the bill that allows mail-out voting for the general election. So the first amendment, it provides that the first time registrants to vote get their ballots like everyone else, either at the time of registration or automatically mailed. The second proposal of amendment is in section 10, and it adds a new section about returning ballots, and the Senate bill placed some limits on candidates and paid campaign staff's ability to return ballots. And what this does is it adds a new subsection that says that prohibits an individual from returning more than 25 ballots to the town clerk or a drop box. This is probably unnecessary. We haven't seen any instances of it in Vermont, and it will be complaint driven. The town clerks won't need to keep track of who's returning. Well, they couldn't anyway if they went into a drop box. But it does give comfort to some people, and it sends a message that what we heard of as sometimes ballot harvesting in other areas won't be tolerated in Vermont. So the third amendment is in section 11, and our bill permits the ballots to be dropped in the drop boxes until the close of the business day, the day before the election. And what the House proposal is, it would allow the local BCA the option of voting to allow ballots to be deposited on the day of election. We heard from some town clerks that their drop boxes are right by the polling place, so they feel that they should have the option of doing that. The fourth instance of amendment is in section 13. And it's about the responsibilities of a town clerk when the ballot is deemed defective. The amendment would specify that a voter with a defective ballot will receive, along with the notification of that defective ballot, an affidavit that can be returned. It doesn't require additional work for the town clerk. The affidavit will be incorporated either on the postcard as a tear-off to be returned or as an attachment to an email. It will actually save time and money by not requiring a whole new ballot to be mailed out. The fifth instance of amendment is in section 13. And this just amends the Senate bill provisions about how the town clerk will look at a reasonable effort, make a reasonable effort to notify the voter. And this just says that they will use the information that's on their checklist. They don't have to go through all the other files in town. This came from the town clerks because they were a little bit worried about having to scour through all the town records. The Sixth Amendment is in section 16. And this is the Senate version had two ways to cure a ballot, in person or by requesting a new ballot. This adds a third way by returning the affidavit that I just spoke about in the Fourth Amendment. The seventh instance of amendment is in section 21, and it deletes this section because it would have created and funded a new position, and this is included in the Senate budget bill. The eighth amendment is in section 21A, and it's the report on voting access. They added one more area for the Secretary of State's office to explore and report on about how to implement a possible voter verification system in Vermont that will not disenfranchise voters and that will verify the ballots have been voted by the registered voter. The ninth amendment is in section 22, and it is a new section that requires the Secretary of State to make reasonable efforts on an ongoing basis to compare the checklists with other lists and with the national voter checklist. And the 10th instance of amendment is 22A, and it is an appropriation. It was not in the Senate bill, and it adds an appropriation of $800,000 to the Secretary of State's office to be funded by $400,000 in general funds, which is left over from the CRF funds that were originally allocated to the Secretary of State's office, and then the remaining $400,000 would come from Help America Vote Act funds. And that, Madam President, are the changes made by the other chamber, and Senate Government Operations voted to accept the changes and to concur with the changes as provided by the other chamber, and we ask for the support of the Senate.
Thank you, Senator. And just to clarify, I said the underlying question was with amendment, and in fact, the underlying question and the question is, shall the Senate concur with the House proposal of amendment on S15?
Yes,
Are you ready? Are you ready for the question? Kindly unmute. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and you've concurred with the House proposal of amendment on S15. The senator from Windham is recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. At this time, I move that the Senate stand in an adjournment until 1 p.m. this afternoon, Wednesday, May 19th.
I need to confer with the secretary. The senator from Windham has moved that, subject to any announcements, the Senate do adjourn until this afternoon, May 18th at 1 p.m. Are there any announcements this morning? The senator from Caledonia is recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. I'm reminded that life goes on. Rise on a point of personal privilege. I'm very happy to report our esteemed Madam President went out for dinner on Saturday night and also had a balloon ride on Saturday night. And the balloon required extra fuel because when they ascended into the sky, she had an extra rock on her hand. So I would like all of the Senate to wish our Lieutenant Governor the very best as she continues on with life as usual. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Senator. Very, very lucky and happy woman. Thank you. Are there any other announcements this morning? The senator from Windsor is recognized.
Senate Democratic Caucus will meet at 12:15. For the public who would like to attend, there is a link on the legislative webpage under announcements. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The senator from Bennington is recognized.
Thanks, Madam President. Senate Education, please keep an eye on your emails. We need to find about 40 minutes today to finish up our work on a couple of bills. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. Are there any other announcements this morning? The senior senator from Chittenden is recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. Senate Health and Welfare, please keep an eye out for an email for a very, very, very short meeting so that we can vote on the two bills that are coming to us or we've just received. Thank you.
Thank you. The senator from Washington is recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. Senate Finance will meet 10 minutes after the fall of the gavel this afternoon or at 1:30, whichever comes, I guess, latest.
Thank you, Senator. Are there any other announcements? This senator from Chittenden is recognized, Senator Sirotkin. Senator, kindly unmute.
Thank you, Madam President. Senate Economic Development will meet at 8:30 tomorrow morning.
Thank you. And the senior senator from Caledonia is recognized.
Thank you, Madam President. I believe Appropriations Committee had a bill referred to us this morning. So please watch for an email to see when we might schedule time to take up that bill. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any additional announcements? Hearing none, seeing none, the senator from Windham has moved that the Senate adjourn until this afternoon, May 18th at 1 p.m. Are you ready for the question? All those in favor, please unmute and say aye.
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 Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and the Senate stands adjourned until